What is happening, y'all? Thank you so much for joining the Pitcher List live stream here for the Plus Pitch podcast. If you don't know this, go subscribe. Do this every single weekday morning for the Plus Pitch podcast, and go watch this roundup on. Go watch this roundup. Go read the roundup every single morning, as I do it on the website pitcherlist.com. All right, here we go. What is happening? Welcome to the Plus Pitch Podcast, morning pitching podcast from pitcherlist.com. My name is Nick Pollack. Today is May 5th, and yes, we are going to talk about baseball. Lance McCullers is back, and he could be a streamer for your teams. 3.2 innings of 0 runs, 3 hits, 3 walks, and 4 Ks, though, do not suggest it might be here right away. And yes, he needed 87 pitches to do this. This wasn't a short leash where they said, okay, only go about 60 pitches, 65, Lance. That's why it was 3.2 innings. No, it's because he's inefficient. And this was against the White Sox, which is also frustrating because, dude, you don't need to throw 5 for 13 strikes in the curve or 50% strikes on the slider. However, man, if you watched it, his pitches moved. Oh boy, did they move. It was just like the big slider from before, the huge hook that is too plain and insane, and then the changeup. My gosh, against lefties, he was just so consistent getting that thing down and over the plate. But that was the only consistent pitch, was that changeup. Everything else was kind of nibbling a little bit too much. The sinker went along the edges, and it was close, but it wasn't really consistent. And that's always been the issue for Lance McCullers. He's been an inefficient pitcher all of his career. He's never been that guy who can go 7 innings or so, and you were hoping you would get through 6. But most of the time it was 5 and 5 and change or something like that, and you're likely going to get at least a strikeout per inning, if not more. Look, you got 4 Ks and 3.2 innings here. The whole question is, are you going to be hurting in the whip department, and are you going to be getting enough wins to make up for it? Also, throwing about 5 innings per start means he can't allow more than 2, or it's a bad ERA, and that's 3.6 ERA, right? If he is going 2 earned runs and 5. So it does mean that you have a hipster, headache-inducing pitcher stifling the entire roster. I'm not a fan of going after Lance McCullers in most of my leagues. However, I do understand that if you want to go and chase for those strikeouts in your leagues, that you might just be like, you know what, fine, 15 teamers, I get it. He is stretched out for Lance McCullers, and that is the beneficial thing here. But it just feels like you don't know what you're going to get on a daily basis, and I hate having those kind of guys on my teams. All right, looking on to everybody else from yesterday's games, we have Freddie Peralta against the Cubs, got the win, 6 innings, 0 runs, 4 hits, 1 walk, and 7 strikeouts. We saw a bit of Professor Chaos here as the 4-seamer just barely got enough of the zone at about 60% strikes. The changeup at a 41% CSW on the day, though, and that's amazing. So thank you so much, changeup, and we just keep going with Freddie Peralta. He's a cherry bomb. He's not going to be an ace. He's going to have that volatility, and he's going to drive you a little bit wild, but you're never dropping him, so there's that. Reese Olson had his changeup cooking. He had his slider cooking. We had 15 whiffs over 42 thrown between them, and thus it was a win. 5.2 innings of 0 runs, 3 hits, 3 walks, and 8 strikeouts. Oh, this is so great. Now, he's a Cleveland Guardians pitcher of old. The fastballs are not what we want them to be. Hopefully the sinker can be spotted well enough. We do not want to see the 4-seamer. And yay, 16% usage. But no, it's because he didn't face lefties, and it was a 40% usage to lefties. So that's something that I hope goes away over time for Reese Olson, as just the other pitchers are so much better. And you got to figure out something else against lefties, because the 4-seamer just is not good. Stephen Pollack against the Pirates. We didn't expect him to go. We thought it would be Pavetti. Got pushed back to the Yankees today, which is really frustrating. 5.1 innings of 0 runs, 4 hits, 2 walks, and 4 Ks. I think this is a bit of a blame on the Pirates. However, I do want to note, we have our offensive rankings done by PLV. It's our projection system. It's amazing. It uses Process Plus, which is your skills and not the results. Think of Process Plus to WOBA as it is like Stuff Plus to Performance, right? Like, it is the skill set of what they do. And our offensive rankings are based on that, which says that Pittsburgh is a tier 2 offense. That is a solid one to kind of avoid. It's the first time that I've really been, I don't know, against what Process Plus has been saying. However, yeah, I get it. And Stephen Pollack, good job here for performing well against the Pirates, but we are not going to continue starting Stephen Pollack. I wonder if there's like certain days or whatever that the Pirates were really good and it surprised us, but overall maybe not. I don't know why. I'm personally am going to go against PLV on that one, but for the most part, they are recognizing a lot of them. They have Detroit as a top tier offense, and I get it. I've been wrong about that one. The Mariners are actually solid, and I get that one too. The Brewers are not good. The Reds are not good. The Nationals are not good. Like, PLV gets all of those right. It's just the Pirates are this weird outlier. I don't know. Something to think about. Logan Webb against Rocky Road did exactly what he should do. 7 innings and 1 run, 6 hits, 2 walks, 6 Ks. He gets the ace is going to ace label next time, okay, against the Twins. If you didn't catch it, I gave the ace is going to ace label to Brian Wu. Let's be honest, he just deserves it completely after how he's been performing away from the tee as well. I apologize that I didn't do Plus Pitch podcasts over the weekend. It's something that I want to do every weekend. The weekends are tougher because I'm writing the roundup in the morning, which means I have less time to do the podcast because I'm trying to have a rest day or two. And when I do get it done early enough, I will do them. It is not a guarantee that I do them on the weekends. I didn't do them at all last year, so consider those as a bonus, not a full-on expectation for those weekend podcasts. But yeah, I'm going to try and do them as much as I can. You have Nick Martinez against the Nationals, 6 innings, 1 earned run for its 0 walks and 6 Ks. All right, good stuff. I just said the Nationals were a bottom tier offense. Sure. 50% sliders and changeups to right-handers is great. I think Nick Martinez should be sparingly using those four-seamers and sinkers. I think they both have their moments. Right-handers should see some sinkers inside, and you have four-seamers that can go upstairs effectively. It has a lot of vert, but it doesn't do well inside the zone. You also have a cutter that he can use against lefties well to replace that four-seamer, just kind of sparingly use that for lefties. And the changeup and slider are just both really good against lefties and right-handers. The curve is sporadic. Sometimes you have some really good days with it, sometimes not. But you had a 53% CSW slider in this one. And that changeup was just the most thrown pitch, and it was great. This is the good version of Nick Martinez. And honestly, I haven't really seen it much this season. So pretty cool to see that here against the Nationals. On the other side was the Mackenzie Gore against the Reds in Great American Ballpark, of course. 5 innings, 1 earned run, 4 hits, 9 strikeouts, but 4 walks. Those stupid walks, 19 whiffs for a co-share of the Gallows Bowl. He's a cherry bomb. He's right in front of us doing that like Freddie Peralta, where you're going to have more good starts than bad this year, it looks like, from him, which is really exciting because that slider is better for him against lefties, even though the four-seamer it really did all the work here and lefties weren't really faced. And that four-seamer just goes too much out of the zone. It was a sub 60% strike rate. Oh my gosh. It's so annoying, but I'm calling him Popeye because he just is what he is, right? I am. Okay, Jacob deGrom against the Mariners. Hey, look, they're actually a solid offense. And guess what? 5 innings, 1 earned run, 3 hits, 2 walks, and 3 Ks. Ace is going to ace. He's sitting 97. The slider was actually not well spotted at righties for the first time all year. This was a lot more in the middle, and it kind of messed him up, and it did not let him get those strikeouts, essentially. So, whatever. Garrett Crochet, oh gosh. More Garrett Crochet negativity, doom and gloom. Well, it's not just the fact that he's at like 6.7 extension. I've said that one before, right? This was 5 innings, 1 earned run, 4 hits, 2 walks, 6 Ks. He's still producing for you, and I'm not saying in any way like drop him or like this is going to be the worst thing ever. Like I still think that Garrett Crochet is going to be productive on your teams. The thing is, after sitting 97 last year on his fastball, right? It was 98 on the sinker, but that was kind of the end of the year and it was a smaller sample. 97, he's at 94. Garrett Crochet set 94 on the fastball with half a foot of extension lower than last season. Like, that's scary, right? And he's still, again, effective. But seeing the fact that Crochet had to lean so much more into the sinker and the cutter instead of the four-seamer makes a lot of sense when you consider that he lost confidence in the four-seamer, right? We've only seen a decline here from Crochet as far as skills. I've been waiting for him to get the extension back and really just have that 14 strikeout game that he should have. If he's throwing 97 mile per hour four seamers upstairs at over 7 feet of extension, this cutter underneath, and oh my gosh, he also has a sinker that should dominate too. Like, this should have been the absurd breakout season from him. This is why I had him as my SB2. But he's just been meh as far as the skills go. I mean, the skills are still really good. It's just not the elite one, is what I should say. It's just, oh gosh. Now, I wonder if the market is aware of this. And I'm telling you to sell him, not just necessarily for like, I saw Hunter Green for Garrett Crochet. I don't think I'm going to have that. Maybe I might have them pretty even, honestly. I might actually even be favoring Hunter Green today. But it seems lateral. What I'm saying is, go sell Garrett Crochet for like a first or second round hitter that you think is great. Like that's the way I would be doing it, and maybe get a lower tier pitcher, like do a 2 for 2 kind of thing. But I really am scared about Garrett Crochet right now because we haven't seen him pick it up. It's been more of just decline, decline, decline. And maybe he does at some point. Like, this happens all the time. It does, surprisingly. The guy has like a terrifying start, and then all of a sudden everything's fine after. But this feels like a trend that we should be aware of before it becomes that bad game. And I'm going to have to do an SP roundup with the 6 earned run game. Be like, I told you, but I don't want to say I told you. It's just like I was hoping for not, because I really hope it's not. I hope I'm wrong here. Please tell me I'm wrong, Garrett Crochet. I just want you to be the dopest. JP Sears against the Marlins did what he was supposed to do against the Marlins. And it's just 2 strikeouts, by the way. Now he has to get the Yankees. We're not doing that. Eric Cabrera against the Athletics survived. 5.2 innings of 2 earned runs and 4 strikeouts, but 8 base runners with 7 hits and a walk. Yeah, no growth in the arsenal. I'm not really seeing anything that is different and exciting here, so I don't want to do it. Shota Imanaga against the Brewers is looking great and steady, and he got pulled for a hamstring injury, and it feels like he's going to be out for a bit, which is really, really annoying. What are the Cubs going to do now? Cade Horton, for the most part, I would think. Cade Horton would get an opportunity in the rotation, and I don't like Cade Horton. I'm going to tell you this right now. There are 2 problems. One, it's a bad fastball. It's 95 miles per hour, and it has empty velocity. Okay, it is 14 inches of vert. Maybe there is PCL stuff going on. I should know that, but it is not a heavy vert 18-inch one regardless, right? 6 feet of extension is very low, and he's a steep attack angle. So that means that this 4-seamer is not going to be good and upstairs effectively consistently. Like Ben Brown's almost in this way, right? Not good. And I would say worse than Ben Brown's. And then you have a slider. He's 2-pitch. The slider looks like it's getting success. It's not like, oh my gosh, what a slider. But it does seem like it's doing well with the 4-seamer in the minors. I don't think it's going to translate super well into the majors. And yeah, that's like, again, it's like Ben Brown without 3rd pitch. And Ben Brown, I think, maybe has a better curveball than Cade has a slider. I don't know. Yeah, that's not a big endorsement, is it? So I would not be stashing Cade Horton. You can take a spec ad on this. And there could be things in the data there that I'm missing. It could be he has more than those 2 pitches. He just had to rely on those, and that was fine. I don't know. I'm just out. I'm just out. I know he's a big name for a long time, but yeah, I'm out. Maybe the command is just that good, and I'm being really stupid about it. If it is that good, then I get it. Like, if he's just always consistently going upstairs with a 4-seamer or like locating inside and then is able to go down and away with a slider all the time, like, okay, fine. But that's a big ask. That's all. Taj Bradley against the Yankees did not do terribly. 5.1 innings with a win, 2 earned runs, 4 hits, 3 walks, and a strikeout. How am I supposed to butter my bread with this? Like, you don't want to roster this hipster. You don't know what you're going to get in a given night. Like, even this is like, okay, great. You got the win in an ERA, but the whip isn't good, and the strikeouts are just 1. What? Tanner Bybee against the Jays. I'm going to tell you about this one because he did go 5 innings and 2 earned runs. There is some other stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about that after this break. 5 innings, 2 earned runs, 5 hits, 2 walks, 3 Ks. Who's that for? It's Tanner Bybee against the Jays. He got the win. 3 whiffs, 19% CSW. And remember his last start, Tanner Bybee threw really effective cutters finally, and I was like, oh, thank you, finally, it's here. And then it disappeared. It felt like a Dennis. That is, it shows up, and then it doesn't stick around. It's kind of like Dennis in 30 Rock. He shows up for an episode, and it doesn't stick around. 0 for 15 whiffs on that cutter. Oh, my gosh. Tanner Bybee needs that cutter to be the guy that we want him to be. It is so annoying. Because he's just always had this, and now the time that I'm finally like, oh, hey, he should be good. He doesn't. Pitchers, just do the thing. Just do the thing. Yeah, I think we just got to keep rolling with it. He gets the Phillies next, so I'm scared of that. In the very short term, it's 50-50 of him having it or not. For the whole season, it's 1 game he's had it. Oh, man. Good luck, everyone. I hope that he figures something out here. Bryce Elder against the Dodgers, 5 innings, 2 earned runs, 4 hits, 2 walks, 6 Ks. That's a gold star, my gosh. If not for like Stephen Pollack out of nowhere doing that game against the Pirates. But really, I feel like he should get one too. The fastball command was so good. And it wasn't a high strike rate. But the thing is, you don't really want the highest strike rate for a guy like Bryce Elder. If you throw a ton of strikes, then you are going to get burned because they're just going to be too hittable. And you can't really do that. You have to be so careful. So Bryce Elder went about 50% on the sinker and 58 or something on the 4-seamer. But the 4-seamer was right at the top. The sinker was right at the bottom, and the slider just did everything else inside the zone and out of it. And that's how you beat the Dodgers without having a good stuff. Like, you have to be at the very, very peak. So good stuff, Bryce Elder. You got a birthday party here where it comes around once a year and we celebrate it. Eduardo Rodriguez returned to strikeout self, I guess, against the Phillies. 5.1 innings of 300 runs, 5 hits, 4 walks, but 10 Ks. That's a dusty donut. You hate everything except the fact that you got 10 strikeouts. And I don't know, all of the secondaries had a 50% strike rate or fewer, or lower, or less. That's less because it's not tangible, Nick. 50% strikes or less, and that's really bad. So I can't get behind this with you, right? I know he's 3 games tallying 32 strikeouts in that time, which is nuts, right? 13 and 9 and 10 here, but it's so strange. And he's just a Toby. You can't consider him as a Holly. It's weird. Eric Fede against the Mets, 5 innings of 300 runs, 6 hits, 5 walks, 4 Ks. You got nothing out of this. Oh, you did get a win. He's trying to be Spider-Man, but I realize now that it's really like the 15-team Spider-Man. And 12-teamers, you shouldn't really have Fede on your team at all. Chris Paddock against the Red Sox in Fenway. Yeah, it didn't go well. And it was 93 on the four-seamer, not 95 hinging on that, or 94 and change. Without a good slider, without a good curve as always. I just wish, he has really good extension and good vert on that four-seamer, and I think he has good command enough to put it upstairs, but it's just 93. It needs more support. You need more. Something needs to really click. The split change is not enough. You need one more, and it's not there. Maybe if you just go 97, that'd be cool. Just figure everything out to throw harder. Okay. Will Warren against the Rays got 8 strikeouts, but it was 4.2 innings of 300 runs, 7 hits, and 3 walks. Streaming loss for me and a loss overall here for him. The 93 mile per hour four-seamer had just terrible vert. And it's interesting. It goes back and forth. There's a game of 14 or 15, and the next one's 17. Very strange. And the four-seamer was hit a ton by lefties. He threw it down the pipe a lot. And the changeup wasn't that great. The sweeper was kind of cool against left-handers getting called strikes. And he threw tons of sinkers over the plate to right-handers, and I don't want him to do that. I think that eventually Will Warren will work out. I talked about him with Eno on the craft, and yeah, Eno makes a good point. This stuff generally works. You see these pieces that have effective stuff metrics, and over time, this works out. But I'm saying, hey, look, in a 12-teamer, I agree with you. And I don't want that now because I don't know when that's going to click. So, shag rug, man. Everybody, that's the young man's floor. 15-teamers I get, and that's what Eno's doing too. So, I love talking with Eno about that stuff. He's right. It's okay. And it's another calming source of, right, sometimes I focus on what's happening at the moment. And I think we should a lot, because I call it the Frizzle method of trying to navigate the season. But long term, Will Warren should be fine. He should be... I imagine we'll have him in the 60s entering next season or something like that as your... I'm probably not going to draft him because I'll be maybe he's going to be Clark Schmidt 2.0. I don't really know if it's like Reese Olson almost of okay, we know you can work, but is it going to? Am I going to be able to make the decision, etc.? But he is a good wins guy in the future, of course, being with the Yankees. And I don't think the Yankees are going to replace him in the rotation entering next year. Doesn't seem like that. Maybe, it'll be weird. Kyle Gibson against the Royals, 4 innings, 300 runs, 5 hits, 1 walk, and 3 Ks. Hey, that's better than allowing home runs a ton, right? Haha. Okay. You don't want to go with Kyle Gibson. Dustin May was better against Atlanta. Yeah, 5.2 innings of 400 runs, 5 hits, 2 walks, and 6 Ks. 65% strikes on both the sinker and sweeper is generally good enough for May. However, where he landed those sinkers were very much over the plate. They weren't going inside to right-handers, which we really need to see. And we didn't really see anything else from the changeup or the cutter or the four-seamer. Changeup doesn't really exist. What am I saying? Four-seamer and cutter. So I want that to get there, but I feel like he needed a start of just, let me nail down these two. These are the foundation, and I'll take it from here. So I think we hold off against the Diamondbacks, but at least this is a step forward, as he's over 94 at least also on the sinker now. But can you try to throw 95 again? I know you feel as if you throwing 99 and 100 back in the day was harmful, but I don't know, man. It's too mediocre now. Tyler McGill against the Cardinals. So it's interesting because McGill is going to get 2 tough starts now, including the Yankees. I believe it's also the Phils. And it's 5 innings, 4 runs, 4 hits, 3 walks, and 6 strikeouts against the Cardinals. The main thing from this was that the sinker was just way over the middle. The four-seamer times was over the middle. Sometimes it was up, but a lot of times over the middle. But the slider is really what let him down. It was like a 44% strike rate on that slider, and that's really been the pitch that's changed the game for him this year. It's just made it so that his four-seamer can cook upstairs, slider then is back up, and the sinker is kind of a surprise off of that four-seamer. The sinker was utilized too much, I think, to right-handers. And by the way, it's the Cubs next, and then the Yankees, which is just a double whammy of starts you really don't want to take a chance on with a guy whose command is so important and kind of wonky. So I think long-term, you're okay with McGill. It is an adage that I generally have is guys who have terrible command generally don't fix it overnight. And Tyler McGill has been that kind of guy who has terrible command. And you'll see waves of it, but you won't see a plateau. So I'm worried. I'm worried that McGill is going to be a hipster for a lot of the year. And it's really tough for the next two. However, if he is spotting, he will have success. But yeah, I think you're okay dropping for 2. Like, you're going to not start him for 2 weeks. Ugh, that's kind of rough. Bryce Wilson against the Astros, 4.2 innings of 4 runs, 9 hits, 2 walks, and 4 Ks. He did what he could. All right, just keep it on the other side of the fence. That's a home improvement reference. All right, Bowden Francis, what do you know? Another bad start. 4.1 innings of 4 runs, 6 hits, 1 walk, and 2 Ks. And here's the thing. That four-seamer is still doing what it normally does. It just allows too much in play. And it's 3D X-Will Bacon, which is our version of X-Wobicon, but it uses spray angle, so 3D. It's pretty much saying, like, yeah, this should be really low, like 230 or so. But you got to give chances, right? Like, that always says this is the expected, but at the same time, he's giving them too many opportunities to get these balls in play, right? And the splitter isn't doing enough. So you're going to have these kind of games. It's just that simple. And Bowden Francis, you're not that good. You're still like a Toby of you can have a good night when the four-seamer is getting all these outs, and maybe you get enough from the splitter that you get enough whiffs, and cool. But it's capped to me as a ceiling, and it's just not really the kind of guy I go for. Andrew Heaney, yep, we had a bad game last time. We got off of this completely, especially I think it was the Cubs last time, and we're like, we don't really want to go for that. And the Padres, like, it's terrible here. Yeah, makes sense. Andre Pallante, 3.1 innings of 4 runs, 9 hits, 4 walks, 1 strikeout. How am I supposed to butter my bread with this? Just stop with Andre Pallante. I had a moment early this year in the preseason, like maybe this does develop further, and it just was worse, and we're just completely off of it. Really off of Jack Kohanowitz, too. I'm really sad because he's 5 innings of 5 runs, 7 hits, 2 walks, and 1 strikeout. How do you spell Kohanowitz with 1 K? That's fine, but you have to spot your sinker. And if he doesn't spot his sinker, things are bad. 29% sinkers because of that poor command, I should say. So there's your issue with Kohanowitz, and also facing the Tigers, and we've just established the Tigers are a good offense now. So he found 15 outs, but like Kohanowitz, we just completely go away now. I know everyone was like, "Why are you in on Kohanowitz?" 'Cause I think he's really cool with his sinker command, and then it's just gone away. I'm like, "Oh, I'm really sorry." He was always like back end streaming options and stuff like that, but I liked him against the weak teams, and now we move on. Michael Lorenzen against the Orioles, 4.2 innings of 5 runs, and it's Michael Lorenzen, and we don't do this. Herman Marquez, we don't do this. Logan Evans, you don't want to do it. I talked about him last time during his debut. I wasn't too impressed by it. I guess I got Texas. Texas has not been hitting well and actually rated pretty poorly on their Process Plus, so we think they're a streamable team, but 5 innings, 6 runs with Logan Evans, you don't want to go for that. You have Ranger Suarez in his return, 3.2 innings of 7 runs, 7 hits, 2 walks, and 6 strikeouts. Clear ill. Still ill is a clear one. Haha. Great articulation. Look, we didn't know how many pitches he was going to go against this next. And it was still 82 pitches, but he allowed 7 runs and 3.2 innings. However, I do want to mention this with Ranger Suarez. You weren't going to start him here because this was the still ill. And we got this out of the way. He gets the Guardians who are lefty heavy next time. And his command was actually really good. I've seen bad Ranger Suarez before. This was not necessarily that. So I'm actually okay with this. I'm going to be favorable to Ranger Suarez on the list today. Probably like the 70s. I'm going to say like, yeah, you're a Toby again. We're cool. And velocity was back, 92. I think the line is really high in the fact that he was effective here. Or at least should be effective moving forward. And last but not least is Blade Tidwell. This was an MLB debut of a doubleheader, which meant spot start and not someone to pick up because he was going to get sent back after, and we do not send MLB debut pitchers out onto our rosters. We don't do that. So 3.2 innings of 6 earned runs, 9 hits, 3 walks, 2 Ks. It's why we don't do it. Now, the slider and the sweeper went just 3 over 29 whiffs, which isn't fun. The four-seamer honestly looked pretty fun. And I'm awfully curious about Tidwell moving forward. I think that there's something brewing here where if Tidwell gets that opportunity for a while, which is kind of tough because you have Brandon Sproat in there too, fighting for a spot. You have guys like I don't know what how I'm being so stupid right now. You have a pretty full rotation with Minaya and Montes coming back as well in the future. So I don't know how much we're going to see of Blade Tidwell, but I'm excited when we do because it is a good fastball with giddy up to it. He settled in at 95, 96, but we saw like 98 at the beginning. And it does seem like the breakers should be very good over time. So keep an eye on this when he does get that runway in the rotation. But for now, we are not going to be touching Tidwell. That is it for today. Thank you all so much for your support, and the ratings and reviews you guys have been leaving are making a huge difference. So please continue doing that on the Plus Pitch podcast feed individually. And of course, the main Pitcherless feed. We're trying to get to 1,000 ratings and reviews. So if you can get that for us, that'd be incredible. But that is it. So my name is Nick Pollack, and may your BABIPs be low, and you strike outside.